This is Gilbert Gottfried, and I'm going to try to get the title right this time.
Oh, why be different this time?
Yeah.
Why break from tradition?
I'm here with my co-host, Frank Santopadre, and this is Gilbert and Frank's amazing, colossal obsession.
It is.
And I should tell the audience, it'll be in a future date, but we interviewed the fine comedian and actress Charlotte Rae, and I called her Caroline Ray. So I can't even get the guest names.
Remember the time we were doing Greg Evigan and I slipped in a piece of paper?
Yes. You during an interview with Greg Evigan, I started to open my mouth and just like in school, Frank slipped me a little piece of paper that said Greg.
Because I was pretty sure you were starting to form the word Glenn.
Yes, I would have. I would have. I get, and I wonder why some people don't want to do my show. I won't get their names right.
Just now that you brought it up, I think it's Evigan, not Evigan.
Oh.
So there you go.
So I can't I don't know either of his names.
Nah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He was a good sport. Here's a new direction. Something strange and something... Well, since we had Charlotte Rae, and I was doing research for Charlotte Rae, and I found that she's in a movie that you and I have talked about on this show.
Oh, yes.
I think we talked about it with Ken Berry.
Oh, yeah.
Who is the rival in the film to Tony Randall. Or maybe we talked about it when you were talking about the Seven Faces of Dr. Lao.
Oh,
we were
yes.
Singing Tony
yeah,
Randall
I
praises.
recommended that one.
This is a very offbeat movie from the 60s, from 1969.
Now, this is where they have an apartment under the earth?
It's under the ocean.
Under the ocean.
Yes.
That's why Richard Dreyfuss serenades a love song to a goldfish.
Yeah, see, if it was under the earth.
Yes, then the goldfish would be all dried up and fossilized.
Maybe we mentioned this during the Dreyfuss, our Dreyfuss tribute. I'd be very curious to see how many of our fans and listeners know this movie from Paramount in 1969 called Hello Down There. And we've touched upon it. It is very, very strange.
A few critics put it on their worst movies ever made list.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag. It's sort of like a Disney kind of a comedy, like something you'd expect to see Kurt Russell in.
Yeah.
Or Cesar Romero.
Oh.
But it's not a Disney.
But
There's no oranges.
They didn't have the money for citrus fruits alone. It would have tripled what the movie
produce
cost.
budget was. But it's an oddball little film. I don't know where to begin to try to describe it. Tony Randall is a designer who designs a home, an underwater home. Have you seen this movie, Paul? Our researcher Paul Rayburn is here. To prove that people can live, it's a stunt to prove that people can live underwater. They're 90 feet below the ocean. He and Janet Leigh is his wife, and they're living there. It's an experiment. They're supposed to see how long they can live in this green onion. It's called. I don't know who came up with this premise. And they have two teenagers, and their teenagers are in a band. Stay with me.
Well, it's believable so far.
The band is led by a young Richard Dreyfuss in one of his first roles, and you just referred to him singing a love song to a goldfish.
And he's kind of like Hollywood's idea of a hippie.
That's correct.
Yeah. Like Hollywood never quite got, like they were the ones who were the druggies, like, Dennis Hopper and people like that. They understood the culture, but Hollywood wanted to cash in, and they never quite got what the hippie movement
This is one of those movies. Not quite as bad an offender as Skidoo. We were talking about how Skidoo had no ability to capture the spirit of Easy Rider and the spirit of the 60s. This was trying, but this was an Ivan Tors production, for Christ's sake, the guy that made Flipper. And Doctari. Do you remember Doctari?
Oh my God, yes.
And Gentle Ben. He did animal programs.
And you know, I should say, just in case I never told the story before.
Go ahead.
We referenced Cesar Romero. Now, in case I don't know if I've ever told this story.
I don't think you have.
But I don't think so either, because the name is kind of is unfamiliar.
Could there be a story of yours that I haven't heard on the show?
Well, maybe.
Well, take a shot.
But I'll say it for the first time.
Yeah.
Cesar Romero was gay.
The Latin
in
lover,
real life.
Cesar
He was a
Romero.
Latin
Oh, I
lover.
see.
And he was a very tough, romantic Latin lover. And and he danced with Carmen Miranda.
Sure did.
And there's still a photo, if you look it up, that you could see Carmen Miranda's pussy in the photo.
Does one of the oranges in her hat have a dent in it?
Yes. Yes.
Was it peeled?
Okay. It turns out, according to legend, Cesar Romero liked to gather these young boy toys around him and pull down his pants and underwear, bend over, and have them fling orange wedges at his ass.
You never heard that,
Full
Paul?
force.
Oh, really?
Oh,
That's
well, I'll
interesting.
have to make sure to tell it more often. Some argue that it was tangerine wedges. I say it was orange.
Some argue that they pitched them underhanded and didn't quite fling them.
Some said they they threw entire grapefruits till he was unconscious.
Some say it was Cesar de Nova, but it wasn't even Cesar Romero. It's Cesar Chavez, and they threw lettuce.
Some thought it was character actor Gino Conforti.
Is he around?
Yeah. Oh, we got to
We
get
gotta
him.
get Gino
We
Conforti.
got Gino Conforti. Yeah. We have to get him. He would pop up on shows like Three's Company. He had these really big eyes.
Yep.
He was always foreigners.
Yes.
Any Spanish, Italian, any foreigner, he would wind up
Dara just
playing.
wrote down on a pad, Gino Conforti. I thought she was going to write, get back to hello down there and wrap the episode. So I'm going to go back to the...
And please try to find that photo of where...
the Carmen Miranda photo?
Yeah, you can see her pussy in the photo.
We talked about that with Mr. Skin. I
Oh,
almost
yes.
called him Dr. Skin.
Dr. Skin. That was a movie with George Zucco
a whole other
and Lionel
It's a whole
Atwill.
other So
Dr.
this is the trivia on Hello Down There. And it was
Okay.
directed by Jack Arnold, the guy that directed The Creature from the Black Lagoon, and It Came from Outer Space.
Okay.
So he was a legitimate... And Tarantula.
I liked... See, now, Tarantula, I brought up on the film. I've on the show before.
Joe Dante.
Yes. And because I think a tarantula was once flinging orange
Now
wedges.
cut that out.
Okay. No. So Tarantula was obviously trying to cash in on the more respected them about
Yes,
giant
that's right.
ants.
That's right.
But I find Tarantula to be a much more enjoyable film.
It's a very controversial position you're
Yeah,
taking.
they refer to acromegaly as acromegalia,
Right.
and they're trying to find a cure for It sounds like a party
It
that
does.
people with acromegaly are having. Let's go have a wild out-and-out acromegalia. Yeehaw! Let's have an acromegalia.
Acromegale time.
Oh, yes. And instead, it starts... It makes a giant tarantula, and Leo
G. Carroll.
Leo G. Carroll's in it, and they're having an acromegalia. Well, if I think in Italy, acromegaly is called acromegalia.
Hey, Rusty. So Jack Arnold, who also directed The Incredible Shrinking Man,
Yes.
movie I know you know, directs this thing, Hello Down There, and it was produced by Ivan Torres. The guy
Now,
behind
someone we're
Flipper.
trying to get on this show.
is
Bird
Eye Gordon.
No, Bird Eye Gordon. Is he still around?
95 or something.
We got to get him.
Joe Dante says he doesn't talk much. so we can try.
Even if he just breathes on the phone.
Okay, we'll give it a shot.
I got to get him. Okay. The actor from Patty Duke.
William Shallard.
William Shallard is in The Incredible Shrinking Man.
Indeed, he is. He's on our list.
Yes.
We're trying to track him down. So here's the B plot. The family goes to live in the Green Onion,
Yes.
under the ocean. Tony Randall, he's married to Janet Leigh. Richard Dreyfuss leads the rock band. Roddy McDowell playing, another eccentric
Yes.
record producer.
Oh,
They love to come up with these Phil Spector type characters in the 60s. Here's the sound, falls in love with the band, says, I got to have the band. I got to sign them. I got to book them on the Merv Griffin show. Merv Griffin's playing himself.
Oh,
he can't find
no.
the band because they're under the ocean. You following me?
Yes.
And Charlotte Rae turns up as
Oh,
the
my
maid
God.
who brings the band's music to she's the messenger, and the music is sent by Dolphin. Am I making any sense?
Jeez.
Charlotte Rae is the messenger who takes the tape to Roddy McDowell to play for
And
Merv
you
Griffin.
weren't on acid when you were watching this. Yeah.
Jeff Barry, who wrote Sugar Sugar and leader of the Pack, wrote the theme song. Hello down there.
And with Sugar Sugar,
Yeah.
that was going to be the Monkees' next song.
Correct.
But they quit.
That's
They
right.
and that became
Because
a
they couldn't get along
monster.
with Don Kirshner.
Yeah,
as the
that
story
became
goes.
a monster hit
Yep.
for the Archies. I
Correct.
think. Yeah.
So that's the story of Hello Down There.
Not to be confused with Hello There by Marty Allen.
There's also a subplot with Lee Meredith from the producers. Remember Lee Meredith?
Yes, yes.
But,
Barely Stuck in Blue.
that's her with Roddy McDowell.
We
So
got to get her on the show,
she's
too.
around. There's a subplot with Jim Backus and Arnold Stang.
Oh, the great Arnold
And
Stang.
Harvey Lembeck turns up as
Oh, my
as
God.
a sonar
Eric
man.
Von Zipper.
So how about that cast?
That's a great cast.
So the point that I was
Yes.
trying to make, and it's a long way around the bend, is that I knew as a kid that Hello Down There wasn't a good movie, but it was a comfort movie. It was a movie that I liked to watch because it reminded me of, I don't know, you know what I'm talking about? Certain movies you don't think they're any good, but you like having them on, and it's something that you return to time and time again for reasons unknown to you, and that's that kind of movie.
Yeah, there's been well, I remember growing up, movies were on TV all the time. And I loved it because I was such a movie freak. Now, one movie they would show a lot, which should be in the fiction section of autobiographies, and that's Man of a Thousand Faces.
Oh, we talked about it
Yeah,
with Ron
Ja-
Chaney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And James Cagney was in it. And I mean, whenever Hollywood does a biography, it's like, maybe 1% true. But I always liked watching that.
Yeah, I like that film.
Yeah.
It's a better film than Hello Down There.
Oh, yes. But getting to the Cheneys, I think the first monster movie I ever saw, the first one I remember, I remember we were staying, my family lived in Coney Island. And as a big vacation, we rented a bungalow in Brighton.
Oh, I like this
Which
story.
is like, it's like a 5-minute drive.
You really went all. Your dad went all out.
Yeah. An old lady could walk from Coney Island to Brighton. It was about 3 blocks
Gottfried
away.
family outing.
Yeah. So we were 2 minutes away from our house, and we were in Brighton. And I remember watching TV, and it was Lon Chaney Jr. and also I think Robert Shane, who played Inspector
Henderson.
Yeah, in Superman. And I think Joe Flynn
Okay.
from McHale's Navy
Right.
was in it, and both playing more mad scientist parts. But it was the Indestructible Man.
I know
Yeah.
that one.
Terrible movie.
Yeah.
But I just enjoyed watching it.
And you have good memories of it because in some way it's connected to that trip.
Yes.
And that time of your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where we were like 3 feet away from our old house.
Right.
We vacationed.
You should have gone for the underwater
Yes.
trip.
Yeah, it would have made more sense. Brighton near the ocean.
So I think I don't know if this is a term or we're going to coin this term, but you've heard of comfort food? We'll ask our listeners, name some comfort films.
Yes.
Tell us, write us, post it. Gilbert Podfried is the Twitter. I just blanked on the name of the website, gilbertpodcast.com. Or on Facebook. Just tell us movies that you loved as a kid that you don't necessarily even think were very good.
Yeah.
And subscribe. Dara's telling me.
Yeah, on iTunes.
On iTunes. And write reviews. But in the meantime, just post and tell us some films that brought you comfort.
Well, I know, like both of us, like you would watch the Bowery Boys movies. Sure. And
the
those
AMC movies were like that on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd watch them over and over again, even if you didn't like them.
Yeah, and they also had those terrible Blondie movies.
Oh, yeah. With Penny Singleton and, was she Blondie? Penny Singleton
I guess
and
so.
Arthur Lake?
Arthur Lake was... Do you know something? The minute and to this day, when I watch the actor William H. Macy, I always think... If they ever remade those Blondie pictures,
He'd be great.
William H. Macy
He'd be great.
would be perfect as Dagwood.
And you just reminded me of another movie I liked as a kid, and I didn't think it was very good, and I'm not a Red Skelton fan, but The Fuller Brush Man.
Oh,
yes! Was a movie I liked having on. And that's what I'm talking about. Movies that you grew up with, that were on television, you knew on some level, even if you were a kid, that they weren't very good, but you came back to them again and again. You know, a lot of the Abbott and Costello stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, even, like I said, even the bad ones, even like Go to Mars.
Oh, yeah.
And even the ones that aren't very
God.
good. I'd watch over and over again just for the comfort. And Hello Down There was one of those.
And I think little kids like to watch one thing like a million times in a row. And I think with little kids, they like that feeling of security they get, knowing exactly what's coming up.
Yeah. My wife will watch the same movie 40, 50, and 60 times, and she'll say, I know this isn't any good, but it gives me comfort. Does your wife do that? It gives me comfort to know what's coming.
His wife doesn't talk to him. No.
Anyway, so post on Facebook or tweet us and write us and tell us what your comfort movie is.
Yeah, his wife says, this movie gives me comfort, which is more feelings than you give me. This movie gets me more aroused. And this is Bowery Boys Go to Outer Space.
You know my wife.
Yes. Okay. This has been Gilbert and Frank's Amazing Colossal Obsessions.
That's it.